Hey there, folks. Welcome to Advisory. I hope you guys are all doing well. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Before we get started, I want to say congratulations and good job, volleyball. You guys fought valiantly. You had a great season. You made it to the second round of playoffs and you made history. No, herstory. And we couldn't be more proud of you. So hold your heads high. Thank you so much for your work and for representing our school so well this season. So hopefully you were able to do the agree or disagree questions from the first few slides. With those questions, I wanted us to start thinking about our academic skills. Those are the things that we will be talking about over the next couple of weeks, zeroing in on those things that help us be better students and how we can be more efficient with those things. Today is just going to be an overview where I'm going to go through 8 different skills. And at the end of today's advisory, you're going to take a survey that tells me how confident or not confident you feel about each of these skills. And then later this week and next week, we're going to go into each individual skill and talk more in depth about it. But as far as I can figure, these are the main academic skills that we focus on to try to be better students and to try to succeed at our schoolwork. The first is time management. And today I'm going to show you a skill and then a series of questions that we can ask ourselves to evaluate how good we are at this particular skill. So, with time management, this is all about how you manage your time. You can ask questions like, how do I use the 24 hours in a day that are given to me? How much time will it take to do a specific task? How can I balance my free time with my work time? What kind of things can I do to get things done faster? And what are things outside of school that may also take up my time? It's not just about school, even though that is our main focus. Even though school is basically your main job right now as a student, it is not the only thing that takes up our time. And so we need to also factor those things in. The second skill is the ability to set attainable goals. Questions are, can I set and meet goals for myself? Are my goals realistic and achievable? Do I know the steps I need to take to achieve that goal? And do my goals motivate me towards a beneficial outcome? This is something that we may not always participate in explicitly, meaning that we may not always write them down, but we all have some sort of goal in mind whenever we are doing a task. Maybe that goal is to
not get a zero.
but maybe your goals can be a little bit loftier. Maybe we can talk about how to set goals that motivate us and that make us want to work harder. Number 3 is concentration, right? How well can you concentrate on anything at a given time for an amount of time? Questions to ask yourself are, how easily can I focus on my teacher, an assignment, or a reading task? When I get distracted, how easily can I get refocused? Do I understand the information being taught? And do I ask questions when I need clarification? Those are all parts of concentration. And when we think of concentration, we think of how we concentrate while the teacher is talking or while they're teaching us something new, but it also involves concentration while you are doing a task, which can be very difficult and which we will be talking about. Number 4 is good note taking. Note taking is a crucial way to retain information to help you with some of that concentration. And so, whether or not your teacher asks you to take notes or you take notes on your own, these are the questions to ask. What form of note taking best helps me retain information, which means to remember information and to absorb it? How do I decide what information I need to write down? A lot of the times we try to write everything down on a slide, but that may not be the most efficient way to do that. And then how can I write down information in a format that makes sense when I study it later? Maybe you're pretty good at taking notes in the moment, but it might be more difficult to go back and think.
Okay, what was I thinking? What was I trying to figure out with that particular set of notes?
So we can talk about how to make it more clear to you when you go look at it later. Number 5 is always a big one with students is the completion of assignments. How do I keep track of all of my assignments and their due dates? What do I do when I need help on an assignment? What do I do to not get behind? And what can I do when I do get behind? A lot of this has to do with time management. A lot of this has to do with concentration on a task, but this will be all about how to organize the amount of tasks you have and get them all done in a timely manner. Number 6, as we get closer, especially to ACPs at the end of the semester, how can I study the material so I can improve my test scores? What do I need to do ahead of time so I don't feel stressed out on test day? We'll also talk about what to do on test day to help you bump those scores up. Number 7 is our organizational skills. All right. How are my notes, assignments, or digital files and other school materials organized? Can I find items easily? And how do I avoid losing things? All right. We've got 8 different classes and 8 different sets of tasks. And so, how do we keep all of those things organized? How do we know where our notes are, where our homework is, where our assignments are? And how can we find those things very quickly and avoid losing them? And then finally, number 8 is self motivation and commitment. This is the internalized feeling of how you stay on a task, how you stay motivated and committed to a task. So the questions to ask are: what is my motivation to do my best in school? How do I discipline myself to do things that I may not want to do? Now, this word discipline often gets brought up in reference to punishment, or you did something bad and so now you must be disciplined. But self discipline is all about the ability to make yourself do things that you may not want to do, and the ability to get those things done without any sort of external push or motivation or even threat like grades. And the last question here to ask ourselves is: what commitments have I made to myself or others to see things through in classes and extracurriculars? So these are the 8 aspects that I have been able to think of. If you have any other ones, I would love to hear that and talk about that as well. But I think this is a pretty good start. On the next slide, you will see a link to the form for today. And I'd like you to take a brief kind of self survey about all of these skills, where you fall on your confidence with these skills on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 is,
I am really not confident about my ability in this skill.
and 5 is, I got this, no problem, don't worry about it. And from our survey, I'm going to see what you as students think is the most important, most pressing one of these, and we'll talk about that one first. So that's all from me for today. You can go to the next slide here and either scan this QR code or type in bit.ly/capital L Longhorn capital S skills to find that form. Have a great Monday. Be good to yourself and others, and I'll see you tomorrow.